My beloved child, come close and listen carefully, because this message has not reached you by accident. I know you have been asking questions in the quiet moments of your heart. You have wondered why everything has remained so silent, why the conversation you expected never happened, and why the person you have been praying about keeps holding back. Today I want you to stop chasing answers for a moment and simply listen to my voice. I see every tear you have hidden from the world. I know the nights when you stared at your phone, hoping it would light up with their name. I know the disappointment you felt every time the silence continued. But my child, silence is not always rejection. Sometimes silence is preparation. Sometimes what looks like distance is actually protection. Sometimes I delay what you desire because I am arranging what you cannot yet see. Your soulmate has been carrying a conversation inside their heart for much longer than you realize. There is something they have wanted to tell you, something they have rehearsed over and over in their mind. They have imagined picking up the phone. They have imagined hearing your voice. They have even imagined how the conversation would begin. Yet every time they came close, fear stepped in and convinced them to wait one more day. Do not mistake their hesitation for a lack of feelings. Fear has a way of making people delay what they desire most. Your soulmate has been fighting battles that few people know about. They have questioned whether they deserve another chance. They have wondered if you would still welcome them. They have replayed past mistakes until guilt became heavier than hope. I have watched every one of those moments. I have seen them pause before pressing the call button. I have seen them put the phone back down because uncertainty whispered louder than faith. I know the conflict inside their heart better than anyone else because I created that heart. Nothing about this situation has escaped my attention. My child, I do not work according to human deadlines. I work according to perfect timing. If I had allowed this call to happen too soon, neither of you would have been emotionally ready for what comes next. There were lessons you both needed to learn separately before your paths could begin to move together again. While you believed nothing was happening, I was changing hearts. While you thought the story had stopped, I was writing a new chapter behind the scenes. Every delay has been filled with unseen purpose. Every unanswered question has been leading toward a greater answer. I know there were moments when you almost gave up. You told yourself that perhaps they had forgotten you. Perhaps they had moved on. Perhaps the connection you felt was only your imagination. But I tell you today, do not allow temporary silence to rewrite what I have already planned. Your journey has never been controlled by fear. It has always been guided by my hands. Even when you could not recognize my fingerprints on your circumstances, I was holding everything together. Every disappointment became a lesson. Every delay became preparation. Every closed door protected you from something you could not yet understand. Your soulmate has also been changing. The person who once reacted out of fear is beginning to think differently. The heart that once resisted difficult conversations is becoming softer. The walls they spent so long building are beginning to crack because truth cannot stay hidden forever. There is a reason this message has reached you today. I want you to prepare your heart instead of feeding your doubts. The call they have been avoiding is becoming heavier to ignore than it is to make. The words they have kept inside are demanding to be spoken. What they once believed they could carry alone is becoming impossible to hide. Do not rush ahead of me. Do not force doors that I am already preparing to open. Your responsibility is not to create the miracle. Your responsibility is to remain faithful while I create it. Some of you listening have asked me for a sign, and this message is one of the ways I am reminding you that I have not forgotten your prayers. I hear every whispered request. I remember every promise you have placed before me. Nothing you have surrendered into my hands has been wasted. I also want you to guard your heart against negative voices. There will always be people who tell you to stop believing, to expect the worst, and to prepare only for disappointment. But those voices cannot see what I see. They judge by appearances, while I work within hearts. Even now, your soulmate is remembering moments they tried to forget. Memories of your kindness, your patience, and your love continue returning to them unexpectedly. They may be working, driving, resting, or spending time with others, yet thoughts of you continue interrupting their routine because I know how to remind people of what truly matters. Do not misunderstand this message as permission to become impatient. My promises are fulfilled through trust, not anxiety. Waiting with faith produces peace, while waiting with fear produces exhaustion. Choose peace, because peace reveals confidence in my timing. The conversation that has been delayed will not remain delayed forever. The silence that has lasted for so long is approaching its ending. I am preparing circumstances that neither of you could arrange on your own. When the right moment arrives, events will begin moving faster than you expected. Today I simply ask you to keep your heart open, your faith alive, and your eyes fixed on me instead of your fears. The breakthrough you have been praying about is closer than you think, and what seems impossible in human timing becomes possible when placed in my hands. Before this message continues, I want you to pause for a moment and quietly whisper, God, I trust your perfect timing. Let those words come from your heart, because trust opens the door for peace even before the answer arrives. My beloved child, I know there have been days when your faith felt strong and nights when it felt impossible to keep believing. You smiled in front of others while carrying questions that only I could hear. You wondered if the waiting had any purpose at all. You asked me, if this connection is real, why has everything remained so quiet? Today I want to answer that question. The silence has not existed because I abandoned you. The silence has existed because I have been working where your eyes could not reach. The deepest changes always happen beneath the surface before anyone can see the results. Just as a seed grows in darkness before it breaks through the ground, hearts often change long before actions reveal that change. Your soulmate has reached a place where avoiding the truth has become more painful than facing it. For a long time they convinced themselves that staying silent was easier. They believed that if they ignored their emotions, those emotions would eventually disappear. But feelings that I have allowed to remain in the heart cannot simply be erased by pretending they do not exist. Again and again they have remembered your words. They have remembered your kindness during moments when they least deserved it. They have remembered the peace they felt whenever you were near. These memories have followed them into ordinary moments of life. They have tried to distract themselves with work, responsibilities, and daily routines, but every distraction has eventually led them back to the same thought, you. There is something they have wanted to say for a very long time. Perhaps it is an apology they never had the courage to give. Perhaps it is a confession they feared would change everything. Perhaps it is simply the truth they should have spoken from the beginning. Whatever those words are, they have remained locked inside their heart for far too long. Fear has whispered many lies to them. Fear said, "It is too late." Fear said, "They will never forgive you." Fear said, "If you call now, everything will only become worse." But my child, fear cannot silence my purpose forever. When I decide it is time for truth to be spoken, no amount of hesitation can stop what I have already set into motion. You may not realize it, but I have been allowing circumstances in your soulmate's life to awaken their heart. Certain conversations, unexpected memories, quiet moments, and even unanswered questions have all become reminders that they cannot continue pretending everything is fine. I have a way of speaking to people when the world becomes quiet. My voice reaches places that no human words can reach. At the same time, I have been preparing you. If the call had come months ago, you might have answered from pain instead of peace. You might have reacted from hurt instead of wisdom. But look at how much you have grown. Look at how much stronger your faith has become. Even though you still have questions, you are not the same person you once were. Growth is often invisible while it is happening. You may think you have made little progress, but I have watched every step. I have seen you choose forgiveness when bitterness seemed easier. I have seen you pray instead of giving up completely. I have seen you trust me even when your emotions wanted to lead you in another direction. That is why I tell you not to lose hope now. The season is changing. Doors that remained closed for so long are beginning to move. Hearts that once resisted honesty are becoming willing to speak. Situations that appeared frozen are slowly coming alive because my timing never fails. Your soulmate has started asking themselves difficult questions. What if I lose them forever? What if I never tell them how I truly feel? What if I allow fear to steal something that God intended to restore? Those questions have become impossible for them to ignore. The peace they once found in silence has disappeared, and now silence itself has become uncomfortable. Do not be surprised if things begin to happen in ways you did not expect. I often work through simple moments that become life-changing memories. A normal day can suddenly become unforgettable. An ordinary phone call can become the beginning of a completely new chapter. What seems small in the eyes of people can become the turning point I have been preparing for all along. But while you wait, guard your heart carefully. Do not allow impatience to create imaginary stories. Do not assume the worst simply because you cannot yet see the full picture. Trust what I am doing even when you cannot understand every detail. Some people around you may not understand why you continue praying. They may tell you to stop hoping. They may laugh at your faith because they only believe what they can see. Remember that Noah built the ark before the rain appeared. Faith has always required believing my word before visible evidence arrives. Your soulmate is learning that avoiding one phone call cannot silence what I have placed inside their heart. Every day they delay, the desire to speak grows stronger. Every day they remain silent, they become more aware that they cannot carry these emotions forever. Soon, what they have been avoiding will become the very thing they feel compelled to do. When that moment arrives, remain calm. Do not let excitement replace wisdom. Listen before you speak. Allow peace to guide your words. The greatest conversations are not won by proving who was right. They are healed by honesty, humility, and grace. Remember this, my beloved child. I am not only preparing a phone call. I am preparing hearts. A conversation without healed hearts changes very little, but a conversation led by my presence can change everything. So continue walking with confidence. Continue trusting my promises. Continue placing your future in my hands instead of your fears. The story is not ending in silence. It is moving toward the moment when hidden words are finally spoken, heavy hearts become lighter, and the call that has been avoided for so long is no longer delayed. My beloved child, there is something I want you to understand today. Before I change circumstances, I first change hearts. People often pray for visible miracles, but they forget that the greatest miracle is a transformed heart. A changed heart can accomplish what years of pressure and persuasion never could. Your soulmate has been standing at the edge of a decision for longer than you know. More than once, they have reached for their phone. More than once, they have searched for your name, looked at old conversations, and imagined what would happen if they finally heard your voice again. Yet each time, uncertainty held them back. But now something is different. The excuses that once seemed convincing are beginning to lose their power. The fear that once controlled every decision is no longer as strong as it used to be. I have been gently reminding them that peace will never come from running away from what I have placed on their heart. Real peace comes through obedience, honesty, and courage. Many people believe that courage means never feeling afraid. That is not true. Courage means choosing the right step even while fear is still whispering in your ear. Your soulmate is slowly reaching that place. They may still feel nervous. They may still wonder how you will respond. They may still question whether this conversation will change everything. Yet the desire to remain silent is fading, and the desire to finally speak is becoming stronger. While this is happening in their heart, I also want to speak to yours. Do not allow waiting to become an idol. Do not let this expected phone call become more important than your relationship with me. I never want your peace to depend on another person's actions. Let your peace come from my presence first. When your heart rests in me, no delay can steal your joy, and no unanswered question can destroy your hope. Some of you have spent too much time watching your phone, checking notifications, and wondering whether today will finally be the day. My child, live the life I have given you. Continue building your future. Continue walking in purpose. Continue becoming the person I created you to be. When you focus on my plan instead of your anxiety, you position yourself to receive every blessing with a healthy heart. Your soulmate has been noticing little reminders that point back to you. Sometimes it happens through a familiar place. Sometimes through a song. Sometimes through a memory that appears without warning. Sometimes through a quiet moment when everything else fades away. These reminders are not random. They are gently leading them toward the truth they have tried to ignore. The truth is simple. They miss you. They miss the peace they experienced with you. They miss the conversations that made them feel understood. They miss the comfort of knowing someone truly cared. Most of all, they miss the opportunity they almost allowed fear to destroy. Regret has become one of their greatest teachers. They now understand that silence has a price. Every day they delayed, they carried the weight of words left unspoken. Every opportunity they ignored became another reminder that tomorrow is never guaranteed. I do not bring regret to condemn people. I use it to awaken them. Conviction leads people toward healing. Condemnation pushes people deeper into fear. I am leading your soulmate toward healing. At the same time, I am asking you to release every burden you were never meant to carry. Stop replaying old conversations in your mind. Stop wondering if you could have done everything differently. Stop blaming yourself for situations that were beyond your control. Healing begins the moment you place your past into my hands instead of carrying it on your own shoulders. There are blessings ahead that require lighter hearts. If you continue carrying yesterday's pain, you will struggle to receive tomorrow's joy. That is why I ask you to forgive, even before every answer arrives. Forgiveness is not pretending nothing happened. Forgiveness is trusting me with justice while choosing freedom for your own heart. Your soulmate is also learning difficult lessons. They now understand that avoiding one difficult conversation created many more difficult days. They are beginning to realize that honesty would have brought peace much sooner than silence ever could. Very soon, they will reach a moment when they understand that making the call is no longer something to fear, it is something they need. They will realize that no amount of waiting will remove what they feel inside. The only path forward is truth. When that realization becomes complete, hesitation will give way to action. My child, I also want you to prepare for what happens after the phone rings. Do not expect perfection. Every relationship grows through honesty, patience, and grace. Do not expect every question to be answered in one conversation. Sometimes healing begins with a single sincere sentence. Sometimes restoration starts with one brave decision. Do not rush the process I have carefully prepared. Let every step happen naturally. Listen more than you speak. Pray more than you worry. Trust more than you assume. The call they have been avoiding is not simply about words. It is about freedom. It is about releasing fear. It is about leaving behind the weight of silence and stepping into the light of truth. So today I ask you once again, keep your faith steady. Refuse to let doubt write the ending of a story that I am still writing. The chapter of silence is coming to a close. A new chapter is approaching, one filled with honesty, clarity, healing, and the courage to finally say what has remained hidden for far too long. Stay close to me, because what I have prepared is worth every moment of waiting. My beloved child, as this message continues, I want you to remember one important truth. The greatest breakthroughs often begin quietly. They do not always arrive with loud announcements or dramatic signs. Sometimes they begin with a single decision, a single prayer, or a single phone call that changes everything. Your soulmate is standing closer to that decision than they have ever been before. For so long they believed they had more time. They told themselves they would reach out tomorrow, then next week, then someday. But life has a way of reminding people that opportunities cannot be delayed forever. Every passing day has shown them that silence has not brought peace. Instead, it has made the emptiness inside them even greater. There have been moments recently when they suddenly felt your absence more deeply than before. They found themselves wondering how your life has been. They questioned whether you still think about them. They imagined what they would say if they finally heard your voice again. Those thoughts did not disappear after a few minutes. They stayed with them because I have been gently awakening what they tried so hard to ignore. My child, I know you have also experienced moments when memories unexpectedly returned. A certain place reminded you of them. A familiar song brought tears to your eyes. A simple moment caused your heart to pause. Do not let those moments fill you with fear. Instead, allow them to remind you that I am able to use even memories to teach, heal, and prepare hearts. But I also want to warn you about something. Never allow your emotions to become louder than my voice. Emotions change from one day to the next. My truth never changes. If you build your hope only on feelings, you will constantly move between confidence and disappointment. But if you build your hope on my promises, you will remain steady even while you wait. Your soulmate has been learning this lesson in their own way. They have discovered that running from difficult conversations only creates greater regret. They have realized that pretending everything is fine has not brought healing. The only way forward is honesty. The words they have been holding back have become too heavy to carry any longer. They have imagined dialing your number countless times. They have wondered how you would answer. They have worried that you might reject them or refuse to listen. Yet every time fear speaks, another voice inside reminds them that they will never know the outcome unless they finally take the step they have avoided. This inner battle has continued for longer than anyone around them realizes. People may look at them and assume everything is normal, but inside they are carrying questions, emotions, and unfinished conversations. They smile while hiding uncertainty. They continue with daily responsibilities while silently wondering whether they have already waited too long. I have allowed this process because lasting change cannot be forced. A heart must willingly choose truth. A person must willingly choose courage. That decision becomes far more powerful when it is made freely rather than through pressure. Now listen carefully. When the moment finally comes, do not answer with bitterness. Do not greet them with the same silence that once hurt you. Do not use the conversation to reopen every wound simply because you finally have the opportunity. Instead, invite my peace into that moment. Speak with wisdom. Listen with patience. Allow honesty to replace assumptions. Remember that healing is not about winning an argument. Healing is about restoring what fear once tried to destroy. Some of you have prayed for restoration but secretly imagined revenge. Release those thoughts today. If you ask me to heal a relationship, be willing to let me heal your heart first. A heart filled with grace hears differently, responds differently, and creates room for miracles that pride could never receive. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that vulnerability is not weakness. It takes far more strength to admit mistakes than to hide behind silence. It takes greater courage to ask for forgiveness than to pretend nothing happened. I am teaching them these lessons because I desire truth more than appearances. My beloved child, I also want you to prepare for the future beyond this conversation. Do not build your entire life around one phone call. Build your life around me. Continue growing in faith. Continue becoming kinder. Continue serving others. Continue walking through every door I open for you. When your identity remains rooted in me, every blessing becomes healthier because it is received from a place of peace instead of desperation. I see the excitement that fills your heart when you imagine hearing their voice again. I also see the fear that whispers, "What if nothing changes?" Give both your excitement and your fear to me. I am able to carry what you cannot. The story I am writing is larger than one conversation. It is a story of growth, forgiveness, courage, and faith. It is a testimony that will remind you that my timing has always been better than your own. Very soon, what has remained unspoken will begin to find its voice. What has remained hidden will begin to come into the light. What has remained delayed will begin to move. So keep believing. Keep praying. Keep trusting. The call they have been avoiding is no longer just a possibility, it is becoming a decision they can no longer ignore. And when that moment finally arrives, you will look back on this season of waiting and understand that I was present in every silent day, every unanswered prayer, and every difficult moment, preparing both of your hearts for something greater than either of you could imagine. As this message comes toward its end, I ask you to place your hand over your heart and quietly pray, "Lord, I surrender my expectations to you. Let your perfect will be done in my life. Give me peace while I wait, wisdom when the moment comes, and faith to trust you in every season." Amen. If this message spoke to your heart, write "Amen" in the comments as a declaration of faith. Share this message with someone who needs hope today, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the encouragement God has prepared for you. Remember, my child, I am already working on tomorrow while you are still living today. Trust me, for I have never failed those who place their hope in my hands. My beloved child, before this message comes to its conclusion, I want you to quiet every voice of fear and listen only to mine. So many people have allowed disappointment to convince them that silence is the end of the story. But I have never written endings the way the world expects. I specialize in bringing hope where others see hopelessness. I bring light into darkness, peace into confusion, and restoration into places that seem impossible to heal. I know that waiting has not been easy for you. There were mornings when you woke up expecting something to change, only to discover another ordinary day. There were evenings when you wondered whether your prayers had reached heaven at all. There were moments when your faith felt strong, and there were moments when you questioned everything you believed. Yet through every season, I remained beside you. Even when you could not feel my presence, I was guiding your steps. Even when you thought I was silent, I was speaking through circumstances, preparing hearts, arranging moments, and protecting your future. Never mistake my silence for my absence. I have been closer than you realize. Your soulmate has been walking through a journey they never expected. They have discovered that success cannot replace peace. Distractions cannot erase love. Time cannot remove what I have allowed to remain in the heart. They have tried to convince themselves that ignoring their emotions would eventually make them disappear, but instead those emotions have become stronger. They now understand something they once refused to accept. The conversation they have been avoiding is not their greatest fear anymore. Their greatest fear has become losing the opportunity forever. That realization changes everything. When people finally understand the value of what they almost lost, they begin making decisions they never thought they would make. Pride begins to fall. Fear begins to weaken. Excuses begin to disappear. Truth begins to rise. I have been leading your soulmate to that very moment. Do not think this happened overnight. Every lesson, every disappointment, every quiet night, every unexpected reminder has been shaping their heart little by little until they became ready to take the next step. And I have been doing the same work in you. You are stronger today than you were when this season first began. You have learned patience. You have learned to pray instead of panic. You have learned that my plans are not controlled by clocks or calendars. You have learned that faith continues believing even when the answer cannot yet be seen. These lessons will remain with you long after this chapter has passed. My beloved child, whether the call comes today, tomorrow, or later than you expect, never place your confidence in a date. Place your confidence in me. People may fail. Circumstances may change. Feelings may rise and fall. But my promises remain faithful forever. If this relationship is part of my perfect plan for your life, nothing can permanently prevent what I have decided to bring together. And if I choose a different path, it will only be because I have something greater than what you could have imagined. Trust me enough to accept my timing. Trust me enough to accept my wisdom. Trust me enough to believe that I love you too much to give you anything outside of my perfect will. As you leave this message today, release every burden you have been carrying. Release the anxiety. Release the unanswered questions. Release the fear of being forgotten. Release the pressure to control outcomes that belong in my hands. You were never created to carry tomorrow before it arrives. Live faithfully today. Love faithfully today. Pray faithfully today. Serve faithfully today. And allow me to take care of everything that belongs to tomorrow. Very soon you will understand why every delay had a purpose. You will understand why certain doors remained closed. You will understand why I asked you to wait when you wanted to move ahead. One day you will look back and say, "Now I understand." God was protecting me. God was preparing me. God was working even when I thought nothing was happening. That day is closer than you think. So lift your head. Strengthen your heart. Keep walking forward. Do not allow fear to steal the joy that belongs to those who trust me. The phone call they have been avoiding will no longer remain hidden behind fear forever. Every heart eventually reaches the moment when truth becomes impossible to silence. When that moment comes, respond with wisdom, humility, and grace. Let my love guide every word that leaves your lips. Remember, the greatest miracle is not simply hearing a phone ring. The greatest miracle is seeing two hearts transformed by my presence. That is the work I care about most. If hearts are healed, conversations become meaningful. If hearts are restored, relationships become stronger. If hearts are surrendered to me, impossible situations become powerful testimonies. Before you leave, I want to pray over you. Heavenly Father, I pray for every person listening to this message. Fill their heart with peace that rises above every fear. Replace anxiety with confidence in your perfect timing. Give them wisdom to recognize your voice above every other voice. Heal every wound that still causes pain. Remove every chain of doubt, bitterness, and hopelessness. Prepare them for every blessing you have planned, and let their future reflect your goodness and your faithfulness. Protect their heart, guide their steps, and remind them every single day that you are always working, even when they cannot yet see the results. May they walk in faith instead of fear, in peace instead of worry, and in hope instead of despair. In Jesus' name, Amen. If this message encouraged your heart, write "God's timing is perfect" in the comments as your declaration of faith. Share this message with someone who needs hope today, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss the messages God places on this platform for you. Always remember this, my beloved child, I am already standing in the tomorrow you are worried about today. Trust me. Walk with me. Keep believing. What I have promised, I will complete, and my perfect plan for your life will never fail.